Hey everybody, I am 13 and I am back. We're going to be playing Big Red or Chandra Tribal or some variant in the middle. Basically, this is going to be the big Blood Moon deck with Chalice of the Void. So, a couple of talking points about this deck. First of all, I actually believe this is in kind of an okay place right now because this deck gets significantly better when Blood Moon is good, and it also gets significantly better when Chalice of the Void is good. Right now, Blood Moon is not very good versus Urza. It's fantastic versus Esper Death Shadow. Chalice is fantastic versus Esper Death Shadow. It's really bad versus Shenanigans. So, kind of falling in a place here where this deck is either going to be like super sweet or kind of okay. There's not a whole lot of play decisions, but I still love this deck. You get to cheese them out. It's prison. People get salty. You can't really cover that end, but it's still fun to play on the top end. So let's go ahead and do a quick breakdown of how this goes. And oh, that's why. We are playing Blood Moon, Chalice of the Void, and Ensnaring Bridge. These are very powerful lockout cards that hopefully stop your opponent from their game plan, and then you can do just any old thing and win the game. We're going to try to haste these out as fast as possible. Turn 1 Blood Moon is definitely within the realm of possibility. Turn off your opponent's fetch land, just lock them out of the game, slam a Chandra, and you're going to win. So that's our game plan. We are playing Chandra tribally. We have 10% of our deck are Chandra Planeswalkers. 13% of the deck relates to Chandra. Torch of Defiance is still one of the best red Planeswalkers ever printed. We have multiple copies of her. We have the new Chandra Artisan from War of the Spark that whenever she loses loyalty, shoots a Planeswalker an opponent and also lets you play off the top of your library. Super good with Ensnaring Bridge. And then her -7 can basically just find you a win condition to win the game. The reason we're playing this deck, though, is because Chandra's Regulator looks like so much fun. I had an opponent play against me, or Brad one did. I can't remember. I saw it recently for something Squirrel Dealer related, and they were activating Chandra, and they just didn't really piece it together. But a lot of the problems with this deck is consistency. Sometimes you just flood out. Sometimes you have a bunch of red cards that you can't do anything with. You draw a ritual, and you're just super pissed. Well, the Regulator is going to help smooth out our draws. Then we're also running one copy of the new 3-mana Chandra. I actually don't think she's very good in this strategy, but we are speeding up our entire game plan with the Regulator doubling up on activations. The Chandra's going to get us closer to ulting faster. Because we're doing Chandra Tribal, we do lose out on Hazoret, which is actually one of the best cards added to this deck recently, but still happy to give Chandra a shot. This 3-mana Chandra works really well with Screds, Koth, and the like. Just trying to haste out these win conditions. So we're going to see what she does. We're also backing it up with Anger of the Gods. We are not running the Goblin Suite, so we get to run Anger main board. Sorcerer Spyglass is a 2-mana way to shut down opposing Planeswalkers, and it gets around Chalice of the Void on 1, which is why we don't run Pithing Needle. But yeah, that's going to be the deck. Let's go ahead and join up for a league and see how this does. So I'm not overly concerned with, or I'm not overly excited with the complete Chandra Tribal. Sup, Rector? Oh, yeah, and sorry for the late start tonight, guys. Today was a Pokemon Go raid day, and I was a little irresponsible and stayed out a little too late. I know, thrilling life. So exciting. But, yeah, we're going to see how this does. Coming back to the original thought, though, I don't think Chandra Tribal is the correct home for this, but we do stupid things. If you've watched Squirrel Dealer, you know that we do stupid things. So we're going to try to keep that up. All right. Oh, I didn't put in Gemstone Cavern. That was a mistake. I needed Gemstone Cavern. Okay, well, this doesn't do anything fast, and I actually do think that this deck benefits from London Mulligan. Just makes it more likely that we get to haste stuff out. Oh, such ugly stuff. Oh, I'm not going to ship that back. So I don't know if Anger's going to be good here, and as much as I love Outpost Siege, I don't think that this Chandra's going to do much to start with. Oh boy, that was just some horrible mulliganing right there. We're playing against Tron. So Tron typically goes over the top of us pretty well. They're going to have turn 3 Tron. We're going to have turn 3 try to play Chandra the following turn. That's a Field of Ruin. So if they don't have a payoff yet, we can hopefully punish them. You never want to be in hope they don't have payoff land. Hope they don't have payoff land is full of skeletons of dying men. There's the tower. Little thing, little thing, little thing. That's a little thing. All right, no payoff yet. This is going to be an Ancient Stirrings more than likely. Yep, try to find the bomb. They found the Karn, but can't cast it yet. We have a wee bit of time. Love a Blood Moon off the top. And this is why we have a Braid. There's another Sphere. And a Star. Alright, well, Oblivion Stone can blow up all of our lock pieces as well as a Blood Moon. Got to get rid of that. It's going to be Field of Ruin. Odds are they always have another tower, but it was the last piece they tutored, so that's going to be the correct one. That was a mistake. I should have waited until their upkeep because they could have activated Sphere or Star. Don't know why they didn't, but that was a line I missed. It's going to be Sylvan Scrying for another tower. 5 mana, nothing to do with the Karn yet. So still drawing live to Blood Moon. It's also possible that they have to minus Karn on Chandra. You can follow it up with another one, but our deck does not handle a Resolve Karn very well. Wow. Okay, well, we are going to start applying pressure and see what goes down. We are telling opponent here that they need... That's unfortunate. Magus of the Moon would have been very nice on this board. We are telling opponent that they need to bring in Dismember off of that flip as well as Nature's Claim. So they found another tower. It's probably going to be Tower or Ulamog just because life isn't fair. Oh, little Karn. So they're just going for the lattice lock here. Show me a lattice. All right. Yay. So, shenanigans can come in. This is one of the cards I'm concerned about against us because they just get to keep dredging over and over and destroy any of our artifact lock pieces, but this is going to be pretty good here, especially if they're going to be on the Mycosynth Lattice plan. Sorcerer Spyglass for their Planeswalkers. Damping Sphere just seems fantastic to try to keep them off of Tron. Blood Moon Hasty is still going to be great. Anger of the Gods is awful. We have to make 4 cuts. That's a lot of cuts. Maybe not all the Spyglasses. We already have a couple, and honestly, I guess that name's Ugin, Karn. We can take out some of our speed, the Simian Spirit Guides or the Rituals. That doesn't feel right, but they're going to still be able to cast a lot of their stuff as it is. Snaring Bridge is actually kind of bad. I don't mind having one in the deck, but it only stops a Worm Coil or an Ulamog. Ulamog cast still gets around it just because they blow up or exile the Ensnaring Bridge off the cast trigger. Alright, fair enough. We should actually be moderately favored against this. We have 4 Blood Moons, 2 Maguses. We can speed it out. So Chalice can stop 1-drops on turn 2. We can blow up the Expedition map on 2 if they lead on it. We have a Chandra's Regulator and some ramp, but no payoff. We need some pressure. Okay, this is a turn 2 Chandra. That's probably okay. And just get rid of the extra one. Definitely keeping the Tree Snelson. I like my art. I won't apologize for that. There's a mine into a sphere, so not that bad. I mean, knowing how my opponents play, they probably just have natural Tron, but... So is this the mana ability? Yeah, that's the mana ability. All right. So I can Sorcerer Spyglass here. I think that's probably correct. I can't name Chromatic Sphere, but I can take a threat out of their hand, and I can't play anything I reveal off the top, so this just feels the most correct. If they do happen to be slow rolling something that tutors, which they're not, their hand's actually not that great. They do get a Sylvan Scrying next turn, but they're going to have at least turn 4 Karn, and they're going to have to find an answer for my Spyglass first. Yeah, this is actually winnable. I'll probably get the emblem fairly quickly here. I guess they could have a Spyglass of their own. I don't think they've been boarding in Spyglass, though. All right, and they're definitely on a slow plan. Oh, look at that. We're so good at this game. This might be a concession. Just might be. So opponent can star or crack the map to go get a Blast Zone. Nope, they're going for Tron. I think they can draw into their win condition. All right. Well, something good? Magus of the Moon? Nope, just a man. Okay, well, empty hand. Chandra's ulting next turn. Opponent's not going to be able to Thrag Tusk this turn, so I actually might be plussing Chandra one more time. Just because actually keeping her out is going to be a resilient threat, as well as giving me an additional way to see an extra card off of the emblem. There's a Sylvan Scrying, so they could technically get Tron here if they have a Nature's Claim to blow up the Blood Moon. That's enough to get me to actually pop the Chandra emblem this turn. If they do happen to find a Nature's Claim, Karn can come down and just eat my Chandra, but I could fight with the emblem. That's a Blast Zone. Doesn't fight anything on the low end, though, and there's a Blood Moon out. Yep, let's just cash out for an emblem and hopefully just draw 4 spells. Like, leading on a Chandra would just be great. I'm a fan of that. So there's a Sanctum. Here comes Thragdad. Gaining 5 life isn't irrelevant here. They can't attack with it, so I'm not really pointing anything at it at the moment. Although, Braid's kind of free. Funny enough, I'd actually have to abrade one of my own artifacts if I just wanted to shoot something for 5. Oh, we are down a game. Hey, look at that. There's the Worm Coil. All right. And that's a Chandra's Regulator. So, for the people who aren't aware of brand new card, Chandra's Regulator, this will allow me to discard a mountain or a red card to draw a card. Odds are I'm actually going to be casting this Abrade, but this will help me filter into finding an actual threat towards the end of the game here. Opponent's actually gained a decent chunk of life. If they can answer my Ensnaring Bridge, then I'll have to figure out what to do with the Worm Coil. It's probably just going to be Abrade it, shoot Thragtusk. And if I only had as many cantrips as opponent over there. Alright, and this is where we're going to see some of the strength of Chandra's Regulator. Into a Chalice. This Chalice can be cast for free. I can also Chalice to shut off their cantrips, but that's going to turn off my Abrade. I'm only going to take 11 if they actually hit me. So sure, let's Chalice for 1. Shoot opponent. And that's putting me on one more spell. Can definitely draw one more spell. Opponent's just trying to thin their deck out as much as possible to find a Nature's Claim. Found a Blast Zone. So I know about a Karn in hand, which can actually come down this turn. Could have come down last turn. That's an Ugin. So they're going to -3. I can abrade the Worm Coil. It can't attack this turn. Kill the Ugin. They're just shooting me? Are they trying to go for the ultimate? Alright, I don't know what opponent's up to. Simian Spirit Guide here is actually not very good. I'm probably going to loot that away again next turn, but I'm going to be holding up the Abrade for whatever shenanigans they're trying here. Oh, I know what shenanigans they're trying. So they wanted to get Ugin up to the point that if they -3, I couldn't kill it with just a single Chandra emblem. Okay, well, that's fine. They're only getting Blood Moon here, which means that I guess Karn comes down, eats the Ensnaring Bridge. Then Ulamog is just super lethal. Need to find a little bit stronger pressure than what we currently have. Ugin is such a powerful Magic card. So I Abrade, shoot them for 5. They go down to 8. I can Monkey. Yep. There goes Blood Moon. They have all the mana. Blast Zone's also turned on. Came in with 0 counters, so they can blow up the Chalice. Alright. Must have had a number of 1-drops. So I know about the Karn. Destroy target artifact. Then I need to draw a ritual or... Jeez, I don't even know. Chandra's Regulator is gone, so I can Simian Spirit Guide. They'll gain 3 life, but that'll put them out of reach of another Chandra emblem ping. So I need to draw either a Chalice or a Ritual. Oh, yeah, Karn. Duh. Sorcerer Spyglass. That's why they didn't Karn. This does let them tutor up Ulamog, though, which means this is going to be the big turn. Oh, they just went for another Worm Coil? I don't know what opponent's doing then. That's a shenanigans. That's also a lethal shenanigans. So I get to blow this up. Do I want to shoot anything else? I don't think so. So just shoot them. Then I can dredge the shenanigans and just recast it, depending on whatever opponent does. Alright, I'm on board. I'm a fan. We might be able to squeeze this one out with 2 giant planeswalkers on the field. So I'm going to be taking my beats here for 8. They're going to shoot me for 3. I'm going to go down to 5, and then I can just dredge shenanigans or cast Simian Spirit Guide. Yep. Dread shenanigans, blow that up. Shoot you for 5. Yay! That was a scary board. That was a really scary board. So if they're still pretty firm on the Planeswalker plan and on the Worm Coil Plan. I think that means that Ensnaring Bridge might need to come back in. Like, all this just looks so good, but I really don't want to trim on my threats. We saw how bad it was not having an actual threat in our hand. Shenanigans still showed to be powerful. I don't know, maybe Chalice isn't the best. This is looking pretty decent. And maybe just trim the extra ritual for another Ensnaring Bridge. Nothing super scientific here. It's just basically trying to find a decent hand to outplay theirs. Opponents actually had a pretty powerful starting game 1. We had a horrible starting game 1. Game 2, they found everything that they needed. We were a little slow, but we ended up finding it. This is not a hasty hand at all. Like, I can Shenanigans to blow something up, but it's probably going to be Expedition map. Spyglass is going to be slow. Like, looking for a Simian Spirit Guide Blood Moon hand, exactly like this one. And I'm going to have to get rid of most of my mana, but this should be fine. I think I'm looking for another ritual. Another ritual would just mean that I'm closer to casting Chandra. Yeah, that's fine. Turn 1 Blood Moon versus Tron. I mean, this is what you sign up for with this deck. Now they're going to drop a Chromatic Sphere and Nature's Claim it. Or just basic Forest. Really, opponent? You had it? That's sad. Alright, well, drawing my mana, I'll be able to cast Chandra. I do think their card's probably going to be stronger than my Chandra, but we'll see where that goes. Found a tower. And they have Tron. It's amazing how they always seem to do that. So, Nature's Claim, Worm Coil, I'm kind of covered. Yep. Never didn't have it. How is Big Red bullying Burn? Doesn't Burn just, like, obliterate this matchup? Okay, so I'm pretty much Chandraing next turn, so I think I'm on Destroy Target Artifact here. I get to untap, shoot down the Lifelinker, and then just have to deal with a 3/3 Death Touch. Wow, this is disgusting. Tron opponent's just sitting there, never didn't have it. Oh yeah, that's fair. But it's not just Big Red that does turn 1 Chalice. Yeah, we're moving on. That is disgusting. Brad1, are you there? Did you see that? So not cool, Tron opponent. So not cool at all. Yeah, Link, I'm actually curious. Do you think Shenanigans would do well in Burn? Just because it would be 2 CMC to get rid of the Chalice on 1, you can keep redrawing it. It's low enough on the CMC side that it's valuable. I mean, you lose out on Smash of Smithereen, so you don't get the 3 damage to the face, but... By the way, I love this hand. I have 3 mana that lets me do just about everything in my deck. I have a Chalice if it's good. It's not going to be hasted out unless I draw into a Simian Spirit Guide, but I have plenty of hate pieces, depending on what I think they're going to remove. I have both variants of Blood Moon. This is looking like Phoenix. Potentially blue-white. If this is Phoenix, the Chalice on 1 is just going to be fantastic, and I don't have a way to remove the thing in the ice. Yeah, that's fair. There's a lot of burn at my F&M shop, so I typically... I have 2 Chalices. I haven't picked up the full playset, but I also went to go play Paper for the first time on Friday in months. Look at that thing in the ice. Well, we did draw an Ensnaring Bridge, so we're kind of pacing this. Yeah, I think Burn just wants to smash the Smithereens because the 3 damage is so relevant. I don't even know how to finish that. Alright, Pyromancer's Ascension can kill me. Blast Zone is actually relevant here, but I can't Blood Moon if I Blast Zone. I can Snaring Bridge, they're not going to have the Shatter Storm. So I think this is just going to be a Ensnaring Bridge, try to make them not flip Thing in the Ice, have Chandra kill it. Otherwise, Blast Zone's going up to 2, getting rid of the Titty and the Pyromancer's Ascension. Alright, they just paid 2 life to get a counter off Thing in the Ice. And when Chalice is good, it's great. So, opponent has 2 mana up. They can definitely flip the Thing in the Ice. I'm wondering if it's an Abrade, though. So, I can Chandra, get 2 mana, put a charge counter on Blast Zone. That's probably my best line. If they kill Chandra, that feels bad, but... Oh, no, I have to tap Blast Zone to do that. So, I think it's hold up Abrade and Blast Zone counters. Alternatively, I can Field of Ruin, just go get another land and then Abrade. I'm going to have to put the Blast Zone counters on it. Alright, so if you want a Pyromancer's Ascension, it's not really going to work. I can pay 4, get 2 mana, still 1 turn off of Chandra and Blast Zone. Blood Moon doesn't really do anything. I think we're just passing. We're really far ahead at the moment. Yep, Faithless Looting, flips Thing in the Ice. They get a counter on the Ascension. They flip all of our non-existent creatures. I really don't know what their out is. A lot of times these decks run Shatterstorm. Alright, well, second Blast Zone might prompt a concession. So that's 4 mana. Chandra. Can't get Spell Pierced. Alright. So, opponents probably got Shatterstorms of their own. Trinisphere is fantastic in this matchup. Dragon's Claw can gain us some life. I really don't think that's relevant. Damping Sphere can make it really hard for them to go off. This is more relevant in the Arya matchups. Yeah, like Anger of the Gods is awful here. It just doesn't kill anything that they have. They're either going to be on Drake or Thing in the Ice. It can clean up some of the Arclight Phoenixes, but we have Ensnaring Bridges for that. Other cuts, we're probably looking at... This Chandra just does not seem great. It feels like the first thing I want to cut. Maybe Magus of the Moon. They just have bolts and things that can kill it. We're better off with a Blood Moon. And I honestly don't think Blood Moon is great here. Like, it might actually be Blood Moon out for the Chandra. Just trim it like that. 3-ball, you mean the Lightning Skelemental or the deck? I think this is what I want to run. I honestly don't. I'm afraid of their Shatterstorms, and that's about the only thing I have to mind. Oh, Trinisphere? I have resolved it versus Storm. That always feels amazing. A lot of times it's too slow for Storm, though. Like, I found that Thalia is typically the better card for Storm matchup. They have to find their one of Bolt. This is a turn 2 Blood Moon or turn 2 Chalice. Ugh. I don't think this is good enough. We're looking for a fast Chalice. Wow. These Chandras look so awkward in opening hands. I need another land. Alright, well, hindsight saying I should have kept the first one. This is turn 2 Damping Sphere, so get rid of the Abrade, get rid of a Field of Ruin, and... Trinisphere can outright win the game, Damping Sphere cannot. So I think this is actually just going to be a turn 2 Trinisphere. Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I just never had heard that before. Alright, no turn 1 play. Hopefully they go turn 2 Thing in the Ice and I can just slam the Trinisphere. They're thought scouring me. That means their Phoenixes came out. Okay, and that means I cannot Trinisphere here. So Trinisphere here is going to get countered or remanded or something. They've been boarding in 3 Spell Pierces out of the board. I still don't think that's correct for Phoenix. Like, they've gotten me with it a couple of times, but they want to cast multiple spells in succession, and Spell Pierce doesn't necessarily do that. It fits the price, but it doesn't really fit the effect that the deck's trying to go for. Oh, an opponent might be looking for lands here. Put 2 cards on top. And they only have red. Alright, Transfer is just game ending. Let's see if they have Force of Negation. Firing off Lightning Bolt. Alright, that means it's probably resolving. So keeping 2 on top likely means they're making their land drop here. If not, they horribly punted. Wow. Alright. That means Chandra comes down. This Trinisphere is the last step in resolving game rules. So it doesn't matter how cheap things are, Force of Negation, it's just always going to cost at least 3 for Trinisphere. Yeah. It's going to cost at least 3. And honestly, if they spend their entire turn shenaniganing me, then the shenanigans are on. Chandra's probably going to ult. I'll run out Monkey as a chump blocker. Wow. So what did they put on top? Did they just think that they were going to combo off this turn? Okay, well. I suppose the one off the top is better than the one in hand. Or do I want a Field of Ruin here? If I Field of Ruin, then I have 2 mana. I can exile this, whatever. This is fine. Yeah, Monkey beats! Monkey, you've done right by me. You're going to be chump blocking for hasty shenanigans that I have no idea what's coming. Actually, it's probably the literal shenanigans. Alright, that's a Blood Moon. So these Desperate Rituals don't do anything. As I mentioned in the deck tech, the red cards that you use are slightly awkward. So I'm going to plus Chandra, see if I can find something useful. I like Ensnaring Bridge, because that's just another must-answer threat. Then I get to attack. I don't see much of a point. Who knows? They might have like a Stife. Yeah, why not? If I have to figure out what to do with the Chandra, then the Desperate Rituals will be mana mutual. I can just slam the Blood Moon, and that should kill the opponent. Unless they bolt Chandra here. Alright, they're going to go for it. You mean the opponent? He can definitely win this. They end up running things like Shatterstorm in the board. Shenanigans, Braids, like they have plenty of artifact answers. Like they're going to have to bolt my Chandra here. Yep. As expected. So that's going to buy them a little bit of time. Chandra. Nope, Mountain. They got rid of my Trinisphere, so I can multi-spell here. I can empty most of my hand for Ensnaring Bridge, but I can do that instant speed. This might just be Blood Moon. Try to keep them off their blue. Let's take a look at their hand. I feel like their hand's going to tell us the most. So they have the other Abrade for the Ensnaring Bridge. They have a Spell Pierce and a Surgical. The Surgical's probably going to snag the Trinisphere just because that's game-breaking for them. That might have been the reason they thought scoured us on 1, was to try to fuel for the Surgical Extraction. Alright, so I have to name a card here. The card's probably going to be a Scalding Tarn. Just turn off a future land, make it harder to multi-spell. Then Oh, that's bad because I'm going to Blood Moon here. Oh well. The only other thing I could have named was Ral. Is it Viscery? Ral was occasionally coming in out of the board as just a way to fight control. Didn't really prove to be strong enough, but it both fueled your graveyard and got you combo pieces, as well as being removal that hit for harder than Lightning Bolt. Alright, and opponent's probably going to combo off here, so I'm just going to F6. They have the Abrade for the Ensnaring Bridge and the Sorcerer's Spyglass. It should get doubled up by Pyromancer's Ascension at this point. They use the Thought Scour. There's the Abrade. There's the copy. Wow. Faithless Looting is pure gas. Wow, there's the Phoenixes. Alright, we might not be coming back from this. Is it Phoenix is the killer of fun, in my humble opinion? Yeah, discard 3 Arclight Phoenixes. Meanwhile, you're doubling all your spells. So, what are my outs even here? I took Anger out just because it's only relevant versus the Phoenixes, which they probably should have trimmed. I have another Ensnaring Bridge, but they just filtered half their deck, so they probably have another Artifact Destruction. I can get a Fire Artisan. That doesn't really do anything, though. It just lets me redraw. I mean, Trinisphere is the same argument. They've just filtered their entire deck, so... Oh, they're just ignoring Chandra, so they have a Bolt. Well, that's an Ensnaring Bridge. Let's take a look at this. That's a Blood Moon. Don't want to cast that. Okay, so before I do anything with my hand, I want to attack with Simian Spirit Guide. And 2 burn spells are going to kill me here, but I can empty my hand. Opponent notably did not leave blue up for the Spell Pierce. Although they looted away the Spell Pierce. But opponent's going to draw their entire deck, find another artifact removal, and then we're just dead to attacks. Snapcaster on the Abrade. Alright. Fun magic. Follow up. They kept in the Phoenixes, so I guess that means Anger needs to stay in. Anger over... Chandra's Regulators are cute, but we're not going to win by grinding here. They're going to explosively kill us. Probably the other Sorcerer's Spyglass. This actually just showed to be super awkward. I think I'd prefer 1 Regulator in. And Blood Moon is also actively bad. Maybe just a Chandra Flamecaller on the top end. She is actually very bomby. Most people aren't familiar with her that didn't play in Oath of the Gatewatch. She just lets you fix your hand, can nuke the board, or just put 6 damage on the table every turn. And hopefully this time not mull to 4. That was super painful. But we can definitely do better than this. Like, so much better than this. That's actually fine. So this is going to be a turn 2 Trinisphere. And we're going to attack just a land. Arch of Orozco was one of the cards I tossed in this to the deck because I just thought it really fit with what we're trying to do. If we end up getting a lot of permanents, we can draw our entire deck. Turn by turn by turn. We usually get the 5 mana. We don't mind spending it. We can draw during their turn. And decent amount of our deck is colorless, plus we just have so many basics. Oh boy. So Chalice turns off Spell Pierce, which means I can safely Trinisphere the following turn. And I'd prefer Chalice get upgraded over Trinisphere, so Chalice on 1. That was a good draw. I like that draw. More of those. Alright, so what are the odds that they're actually running the Force of Negation? I know a couple of the lists were trying it. That's fair, but the only counterspell I'm expecting them to have is Spell Pierce. And Chalice is going to stop Spell Pierce. Okay. That was an interesting choice. So Blood Moon's actively going to hurt me here. I'm just going to run out my Simian Spirit Guide. Monkey Beats. Yep, that Snapcaster does nothing. I'm getting the read that opponent has absolutely nothing going on. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8. This is going to be 9. Almost have the City's Blessing. They gotta go get another island. And may as well stay on defense. Like, my 2 damage versus their 2 damage, I think that their 2 damage is actually better than ours. Just because we're going to win by lockout. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, yeah, it's a mountain. I can't get the City's Blessing. I knew I couldn't activate it, but for some reason I was thinking I'd still get the Blessing. I have no idea what's in their hand. Just must be a ton of 1-drops. Well, what does keeping the Blood Moon off the table do? I wouldn't have had the City's Blessing yet. The Blood Moon doesn't actively hurt me. Like, these are nice utility cards, but they honestly don't matter if I can lock the opponent out of doing their utility cards. I'm more concerned about... Oh, that's not good. Now opponent's just going to cast cards to get them into the yard. Probably multiples getting countered. Like, as long as I'm turning off his Kanta and I'm turning off like Tron lands and the like, I don't need my Arch of Araska. Yes, it's nice, but it's not something that I actively need. That is a good Chandra. Not the best, but a good one. This is at least a redraw. Oh, the Trinisphere. Okay, so this is not like Torch of Defiance. I actually can cast this. I actually should read this. So whenever exile the top card, you may play it this turn. Yeah, I don't have enough mana. The Pyretic Ritual is going to cost 3 thanks to the Trinisphere. So I'm not able to net mana. It's going to cost 3 to get 3. Torch of Defiance requires you to cast it the moment that you reveal it, though. So that's good to note. It's more like Outpost Siege than Torch of Defiance. That's an Arclight Phoenix. Gets a free hit. Apparently the opponent doesn't think the Snapcaster is worth as much. He's probably waiting for a Thing in the Ice. Thing in the Ice, flip Snapcaster, buy it back. Now he's actually got the mana to pay for it. Sleight of Hand gets countered. Gets the counter on the Pyromancer's Ascension. Shut off my Blast Zone. Wow. Lovely. Oh, that's an ensnaring bridge. Ensnaring bridge is good. And at this point, I am going to get in with the Simian Spirit Guide. I can empty my hand whenever I feel like it. I did cut one of the two Chandra's regulators, so I'm not going to be able to loot these away half as easily as before. Well, he didn't block, so it did take that attack for me to identify the fact that opponent didn't want the Snapcaster to die, but it did stall a couple of turns, so you're not incorrect. So opponent's looking for an Abrade more than likely. Faceless Looting gets countered. Opponent gets one more spell this turn. I'm really afraid of Abrade, but they only have 2 in hand, so they might not have it. Alright. Cast a spell, just get it out of hand, so Snapcaster can't attack. And I think I want a Chalice on 2 now. Chalice on 2 would make it so that Abrade gets shut off. Shuts off some of my stuff too, but like just turning off Abrade means that we've locked down the game. And that's a Blast Zone. Big money. Alright. So opponent gets another fresh draw. So I'm pretty sure that's actually a printing thing. It's kind of like the supply. I know Storm wants, I think, 4 of each of them. So if you need to buy all 4, but they're significantly less pyretics, they're still going to cost more despite being worse singletons. Like in a vacuum, it's worse. I know I also needed 1 of each for my vintage cube, so like it's just kind of spreading the demand out a little bit. Tap the Blast Zone for fun. Actually, that was a mistake, because if they blow up the Blood Moon, odds are they're not going to blow up the Blood Moon, but if they can find a way to do it. Opponent is trying hard. They must have not known about the... Oh no, it does copy. Yeah, the copy doesn't get countered because it wasn't originally cast, so the trigger from Chalice doesn't go on it. Such a powerful card. Did you find the Abrade? Dismember. It's the only way that they could pay life here. Well, still no Abrade. I'd like a Chalice. Alright, now I'm starting to feel like you're taunting me. I have no valid reason to cast that other than to put it in the yard. And may as well put a couple of chump blockers out. And again, I think I want to leave the Blast Zone up. It's very minuscule, but it does feel like a min-max thing. If for whatever reason the Blood Moon gets blown up, then I can try to add mana to Blast Zone. Alright, Faithless Looting, they get to draw 2, discard 2. Now if they blow up the Ensnaring Bridge, they still have to attack in through my Simian Spirit Guides. Mono Red unfortunately doesn't have great answers to Pyromancer's Ascension. There's a good number of like 7 CMC things like Spina Vishkana and Universal Solvent that could technically deal with it. Blast Zone was our out, but it's under a Blood Moon. It's honestly the cost of the deck, though. Like, we're basically trying to lock the opponent out, which in turn kind of locks out some of what we're doing. Like, the Turn Sphere shut off the Desperate Rituals, but turn 1 Blood Moon can win the game a lot of the time versus a lot of decks. Wow, they got a Shattering Spree? Alright, so it's about to hit the fan here. Replicate is one of the better designed Magic card effects. Replicate allows them to put the spell onto the stack. It's going to get countered by the Chalice, but then they can pay red to make copies, and each copy can target something different. Then with the Pyromancer's Ascension, they're even getting an additional copy of it, so they can basically wreck all of my artifacts here. Simian Spirit Guide blocks are online. So one of the variants of Big Red is Scred, where you run Koth of the Hammer for Mountain Stun Tap and Ping With, and Scred as a targeted removal. So it's one of those min-max things where you look like Scred, even though we're doing something slightly off. Alright. Double Surgical Extraction, that's painful. So Scred was in there, like, it's not really a bluff, it's kind of just a misdirection. We don't utilize snow for our strategy, but there is a deck that uses a lot of snow mountains, so we're using that to kind of bluff our way into that early game. Or potentially lead opponent into thinking we're running Scred as creature removal. Oh, I love this deck. It is the Fun Smasher. Alright, so opponent did correctly note that Chandra was going to lose 6 loyalty here, which meant that I was going to shoot them for 5, and then... Why can I not target that? Okay. Only legal target, I guess. And then hit them for 4 with the Simian Spirit Guides. Oh, we were so close to just straight up killing them. Alright, so this Chandra's going to create 2/1/1s, put opponent down to 2, and leave me with lethal attackers. I mean, I've been in worse positions. So hit opponent for 4, put him down to 3. Then they have to send the Arclights at Chandra and leave a Woken Horror on defense. Oh no, they're just going to fire off some red spells and gain life of their own. Yep. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I don't think Arclight Phoenix is a very healthy deck just because it shuts down creatures, it interacts with spells. Like, you have to have something like a Rule of Law to interact with this deck, or a very fast clock that leads to blah, 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 blah. Words are hard. Degenerate combos. Every time I play this with anything even moderately fun, like nothing even comes close to working out. Like, they're just going to continue to draw cards here. They're likely going to find themselves a Lightning Bolt, shoot me for 6, attack in for 12, and then just have lethal. So I can scoop here, but they need to find one more burn spell. But they're going to gain enough life here that I'm going to have to draw into a Chandra to shoot them for 2. They're still going to gain a life. Yeah, so that's the exact line that you try to set up when you run mana bases or sequencing to try to lead your opponent into another deck. I've run Scalding Tarn into Basic Island before and had an opponent name a Thing in the Ice with a Meddling Mage. Yep, so that's 6, 12, 19. They need to find one more burn spell and we're conceding. Oh, nope, another Phoenix. So, to be fair, we did make it to turn 12, but I had opponent locked down for most of that, and then the turn that they go off, they shoot me for 20. Still not a huge fan of playing against Phoenix. Like, it does what it's supposed to very well, but when you can't run creatures and you have to run spell interaction, it just forces you to play interaction on a different level than like blue white or Jund. You have to find something a little bit more unique or just put up a fast clock. But tonight we are playing Big Red. Lots of Chandras. We have 10% of our deck is Chandras, 2 Chandras regulators to kind of see how that's going. Honestly, I haven't been that big of a fan. We have played against Tron and Arclight Phoenix so far. Both don't necessarily feel like great matchups. We just don't put enough pressure on Tron so they can end up just hard casting their stuff. But we do lock them out of what they're trying to do. We've also mulliganed to Oblivion so many times tonight. Thanks for stopping by, Link. Have a good one. Yeah, we've mulliganed to 4. We've mulliganed to 5, like 3 times. Make that 4. Oh, wow. This is awful. Appreciate it, Link. Well, make sure to get some sleep. Have a good one. Wow. I don't like any of this. So, Chandra's too hard to cast. Actually, I probably should have invested into that Chandra. Can I undo? No. I could have actually had a turn 1 Chandra and then like turn 2 Ensnaring Bridge. That was actually pretty decent. Alright, well, whatever. We got this. I'm going to give myself a punt there. I just did not think through what my line was going to be. Alright, this is typical of Ponza or Jund. Or Valakut. Either gods is okay, but we're on a single land, so if this is Ponza, we're going to feel bad. Alright, basic forest basically means Ponza. Breeding pool, so this might be the new infect list. Alright, well, I can abrade this here. Shutting an opponent off of mana is definitely a valid strategy. The Exalted trigger, if this is infect, is actually quite good, but I wasn't sure if I was going to draw the land, and getting an Anger of the Gods is actually significantly more relevant. So I'm hoping opponent's going to commit into a lot of creatures here, and I can just sweep up the board. Alright, so Spell Pierce, basically confirmed. I could pay for it. This just confirmed that it's infect. They use Spell Pierces to try to protect their creatures. Ink Moth is slightly harder to deal with, though. Alright, well, this is why we run Anger of the Gods, and then if they have Force of Negation, we ball up into a little corner and cry and die inside. But no Force of Negation? Sweet! We have hopes. We have hopes and dreams again. Yep, Ink Moth gets in. Scale up. Takes 6. Done. So, anything below a 3-drop? Oh, did you just have it? Nope. Close, though. Magus of the Moon. Okay, that's playable. So they shouldn't have removal for Magus, which turns off the Ink Moth Nexus, and that lets us put out the Ensnaring Bridge, or they're just going to scoop it up. Alright, well, they could have had a Glistener Elf. That's fine, though. Trinisphere shuts down a lot of their combo, cleaning up the board. Spyglass can name Ink Moth, but I really don't think that's relevant enough because we do have plenty of artifact destruction. I don't think Shenanigans is worth bringing in either. Blood Moon is great, as we just saw. Sorcerer Spyglass is a pretty easy trim. Probably looking at something on the top end. Like, this Chandra has not impressed me so far. We need finishers, and that can get through our deck. Chalice is just fantastic. Let's maybe look at doing that. We have plenty of things that just shut them down. A Chalice on 1 is brutal, and then they have to win through a Blighted Agent or an Ink Moth, and then we actually have spot removal as well as Ensnaring Bridges. We have 22 lands. What the heck, deck? Why do you hate us so much? I don't want to go much lower than this. Opponent's on the play, so it's very possible we just die on turn 2, but I got to put a land to the bottom, and We have a Field of Ruin for an Ink Moth. Blood Moon should just shut them down completely. If they commit to a full board, Anger of the Gods is good. Yep, there's a Glistener Elf. That's a Simian Spirit Guide, which means that we can Anger on 2. Although, New Infect kills us this turn. Okay, so they could have Groundswell. They don't. Another land. So this can get a basic forest. They are leaving up counter magic. Unfortunately, I have to commit to this and let my Blood Moon get countered. Okay, well, if they get a basic forest, it might be resolving. So, Blighted Agent's off the table. Noble can come down, scale up, and a Mutagenic Growth is lethal. No Groundswell, no Might of Old Kroza. Alright. Well, you don't have blue, so goodbye, Glistener Elf. Now I just need a threat. Oh, that works. That's at least a blocker. They've got to figure out how to get a creature on the table and a way to get past Magus of the Moon. Oh. Now they have to get past Ensnaring Bridge? Happy days. Probably should have attacked first, but it's fine. They can't fetch out a Dryad Arbor, so they have no sneak attackers. Wow, so many lands. So many lands. We even put one on bottom. In fact, I'm curious. I know I do this a lot, but I am super curious. So we had a Simian Spirit Guide. We're 13 cards in. And a Dismember. Opponent's going deep. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 4% chance to get this many lands. Alright, well I know I have a land on bottom, but it's not like I'm doing anything with this Field of Ruin. I guess I should have held it for an Ink Moth. That would probably be more correct, but I honestly can't imagine that I draw very many more lands, so I'm just going for it. Why, deck? Why? Alright, well, we're going to die. Opponent's been drawing gas for multiple turns. But we get to go to the next game. In the meantime, sample size is 14. Number of successes, 9. And we're down to 1.7% chance to draw this many lands. If they have anything, we're dead. Except for a Noble Hierarch. Noble Hierarch doesn't do it. You gonna go for it, opponent? I have 8 mana. Alright. 1.7% deck. That was after we mulliganed 2 no-landers away. So aggravating. Yeah, let's just run it back. Opponent is on Force of Vigor. I can't really do much about that. I'm actually curious. I haven't seen any Infect lists running Force of Vigor. This is a turn 2 Magus of the Moon. and they're gonna have to have dismember. Or actually, this is probably gonna be a turn 2 Blood Moon, so I can turn 3 Anger of the Gods without feeling super self-conscious. Is this okay? Can I do this? Can I kill my Magus? Am I gonna be in your way if I kill my Magus? Am I gonna look stupid? Alright, opponent left up Spell Pierce. I have an Abrade, so I guess that means Magus. This time around, don't want to get countered. And this might just lock opponent out of the game, so fully on board. They have the Dismember? How many did they bring in? That's got to be a 1 of, possibly a 2 of. Blighted Agent. Do it. Alright, well, opponent definitely left up Spell Pierce, so let's just try to Chandra's Regulator. Yep. That means that they have multiple Spell Pierces, more than likely. There's the Blighted Agent. So, braid this Meow. Then hopefully land a Blood Moon and not just die to an Ink Moth. I guess I could die to that. Okay, deck, you are taunting me at this point. Opponent left up Spell Pierce, which means that my Anger or my Blood Moon aren't going to resolve. Alright, well, if they have Spell Pierce, that means they have 2 cards in hand. If one isn't a Scale Up, I might survive. One's a Noble. So it's not a Scale Up. Alright, it's only 2. There we go. Let's try this. Leading on Anger because I have 2, so when this gets Spell Pierced, I can Anger next turn. Also, opponent had plenty of green mana, so really just expecting that to happen. So no Spell Pierce. They did try really hard to represent that, though. So still dead to a Scale Up Ink Moth with any other buff effect. Snary Bridge won't get the job done. It has to be the Blood Moon. Force of Vigor might also potentially be something coming my way. That's a Trinisphere. So they draw. They can just do it. So hopefully this Blood Moon doesn't die. A horrible death. Don't get smashed by some weird green creature. Okay. They didn't even get a green card. That's a Glistener Elf. So I can Abrade, I can Anger. I think that I need to leave the Abrade up for if I get my Blood Moon wrecked. So I'm going to Anger here. They only have 1 card in hand, which means I should be 1 for 1-ing at this point. Opponent can hardcast Force of Vigor, but... Oh, this kind of works. Chandra at least starts putting a little bit of a clock on. Although, blow up my Blood Moon, attack with Ink Moth. I'm still very close to dead. Pause for opponent to read Acolyte of Flame. Basically just there to make my other Chandra's ult faster. Also lets me buy back a Braid if they run out of single creature. Opponent's tanking on what that means to them. Just means I'm attacking for 2 right now. Yep. So if that is a pump spell, I'm just dead. Well, at some point I had to commit to the table. Only having 3 mana made that really hard. Alright. Well, not a great start. So, chat, are we at a point we want a bell and cannon? Because this is going horribly. And we just saw how awful Chandra was. The Inca, whatever it's called, Chandra's incubator, inhibitor, would have been good, but it got spell pierced. Yeah, Bradwan, this did not go well. Are we at bell and cannon, or do we want to play the last 2 rounds? Anyone from chat? A single voice? I mean, we've been at this for an hour and 15 minutes. I'm actually good to just call it here if this is where we want to call it. We've put up a fight in all of our matches, but unfortunately, we just haven't had any good matchups except for Infect, and we never drew our Chalice. You do call me 2/3 hero. All right, I'm requeuing. But they had Force of Vigors and Dismembers. Like, how did they keep drawing their Dismembers? They had their one of Dismember every game. That was shenanigans. I call shenanigans. In fact, we're running shenanigans, so I'm an expert on shenanigans. But, yeah, I don't know. So, Phoenix is a little rough just because they got their Pyromancer's Ascension. I honestly don't think we're even very good versus the Arya version of Phoenix. It was a little bit better when they first came out and they were trying to play with a couple of the different variants, and definitely when they were on mainboard Surgicals that literally did nothing versus our deck. But that one opponent also brought him in. Like, what? Why Surgical S? I don't think that does anything. You should have had Shadowstorm for all the Urza decks. But we'll give this a shot. We'll see if we can do a little bit more. This is so slow. Where are our explosive fast starts? Apparently nowhere around here. Alright, well, I guess we're doing a turn 3 Chandra with this hand. Or drawing a ritual like a boss, and turn 1 Ensnaring Bridge does nothing. Alright, that's also awkward. Control, so we can shut down some of what they're doing. We need to bring in all 4 Sorcerer Spyglasses and hopefully just stop what they're doing. We can't do anything to stop Cryptic Command. Yep. Turn 3 Chandra if they tap out. It's really what we're hoping for. Alright, well we have backup Chandra. So this should eat the first Remand / Mana Leak. They have Force of Negation, lovely. And main deck Surgical. So we're gonna name 3 mana to Fairy doesn't actually do anything. Bouncing our lock pieces are annoying, so I might actually take that. Alternatively, it's going to be Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, or Jace. Yeah, let's do Little Teferi. It's Time Raveler, right? No? You want me to name Flooded Strand? We don't see one. Okay, well, they actually look like they might be on the Resto Angel. I'm with Seraphix. Let's go with Flooded Strand. We came here to meme, not to win. Okay, maybe we did both, but we're definitely not winning. So they get to hardcast the Force of Negation. Seraphix, you can't joke about mana denial. We're going to jump on mana denial. So I'm expecting the hardcast Force of Negation here, so I'm going to just run out Ensnaring Bridge. It does the least. I don't mind if they counter it. They also have the Vendilion Click and Snapcaster in hand, which means they're probably looking at attacking. Yeah, that's fine. So this is going to be a V-click. Look away, opponent. There's nothing here I care about. I'm dead inside. Took the Chalice. I mean, Path isn't going to do anything. It can stop Serum and Opt. So that's a must answer. And they only have one whiteout, so this is going to... Oh, they can't even Force of Negation this. They can Path it, though. They'll get me my 4th mana for Chandra. Yep, that's the plan. Get Pathed. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty apparent what they're going to do, but... This at least gets a mana out of our deck and lets us Chandra for funsies. I don't know. Again, like I said, I'm a little dead inside. This one has not been going well. I usually like playing with Big Red. My flavor's a little bit more Sun and Moon with White Rips and Ley Lines. But ooh, I actually should have done that one with the new board clear. So I can empty my hand. Does that actually do anything productive, though? V-click won't be able to attack. Opponent's just getting all their mana together. Alright, whatever. Let's just put you to the test. Force of Negation me, bro. Exile it so you can't surgical it. Wow, they're trying to figure out what to do. Yep, as expected. So taking beats for 3 again, then we can come really close to emptying our hand. But we're playing against a blue deck. And we're a little threat light at the moment. That's an Anger. Okay, so if I want to Field of Ruin the Celestial Colonnade, I can Field of Ruin, Simian Spirit Guide, Anger of the Gods. That'll put me down. Alternatively, just Desperate Ritual, Simian Spirit Guide, Ensnaring Bridge, and Anger of the Gods. Have a Chandra in hand. Opponent still has all of their mana up. Okay. Well, this will at least get a decent chunk of lands out of my hand. That's all I'm really looking for at the moment. And I do have to move to main 2 because they floated enough mana to snap Force of Negation. Alright, so they didn't think we'd be doing anything in main 2. And they shouldn't counter this. Like, they have no reason to counter this. If they do, I can just exile the Simian Spirit Guide and it still can't attack. Okay. Apparently that V-click is very important to their agenda. Now it can't attack. So they did draw the Cryptic. That means Chandra has to come out, make sure that they have it. They're not going to be able to snap Cryptic or snap Force. And they had Logic Knot. Alright, well I guess that Simian Spirit Guide could have done better things. But that's fine. Currently they have to deal with an Ensnaring Bridge. Ugh, Jace. I almost named Jace. When I couldn't figure out what Teferi to name, it was almost Jace. But we're falling super far behind at this point. Actually, I have to turn off auto yields if they surgical. I'm just conceding. And Jace also makes it very hard for us to win. So they put another card atop. That's a Blood Moon. They're probably just going to counter it. They left it on top for a reason. Yep, whatever. Let's move on. Not an impressive showing for Chandra at all. Alright, Anger of the Gods is bad, despite the fact they actually had to counter it. Chandra is just a giant bum if we ever get to her. The spyglasses are 100% coming in. Shenanigans doesn't do anything. I'm more concerned about the Detention Sphere. Detention Sphere is the bad card. Trinisphere is actually a consideration here just because it really shuts off Snapcaster Mage and makes things like Serum very awkward. So let's see what we're going to cut first. So Chandra's Regulator is pretty decent. We do not want rituals in these longer games. Blood Moon is also slightly awkward versus the 2-color decks. And we've already taken a ton of cards out, so that means Trinisphere's coming in and probably just a number of the bad rituals. Yep. Alright. Well, Chandra has not been a decent showing, but I'm pretty sure people in this channel do not expect a decent showing for every deck that comes through here. This turn 1 Ensnaring Bridge that does nothing. I want an Explosive Hand if we're going to go out in a Fiery Blaze of Glory. And Chandra's Regulator is actually something I'm willing to test out here. So let's keep this guy and ship back Awkward Chandra. And see if we can resolve this turn 2 Regulator. Doubling up our Chandra abilities is probably going to be decent enough to actually win here. I'm going to get Spell Snared. I know what's happening. Okay. I'm happy. So far, I'm happy. As a blue-white player, I would have been like, well, that could be bad long-term, but odds are it's a do-nothing artifact if I actually manage the board state. So what are my options here? I can Chandra's Regulator, discard a Braid, draw into a land, Desperate Ritual into my 3-drop still, or I can... I mean, a Braid's doing absolutely nothing here. It's another bad card. Let's just take a fresh draw. There's probably... We have 22 lands. 2 are out here. We were 20 of 52 to draw a land. That seems high enough upside. Didn't work, but... That's a Narset. Well, luckily none of our cards draw. They're exile and you may play them. Revealing a path to exile. Land! I'll take a monkey. That's a land. Opponent's going to force of negation me. Don't do it. Don't do it. Alright. Well, that's taking a lot of options out. Opponent's gone and got their basics. I just got to loot away this Magus. Now they get to hold up Cryptic until the end of time. Oh, derp to derp. I had to do that on their turn. So not in the right headspace for this. Yeah, I'm done. We're done here. So, not the best showing. We moved to 0-4. This was absolutely awful. I love Big Red. It's a good deck when the meta's correct. And there are a lot of very powerful planeswalkers come out of it. And this Chandra, the Fire Artisan, is not one of them. She was okay, but she was basically a rehash of the 2015 Chandra. It's not a bad thing. 2015 Chandra sees play occasionally. Torch of Defiance is just significantly better. Having 4 loyalty abilities just made her fantastic. I'm not a huge fan of Chalice of the Void at the moment. You do get to see how like Pyromancer's Ascension got around it. There have been worse Chandras. There have been much worse Chandras. Anger of the Gods. If Dredge is heavy in your meta, this is a deck that main decks Anger of the Gods. Same with Humans and Spirits. The fairer decks that aren't just control are the ones that we pick on pretty heavily. Jund, we Blood Moon them out of the game. Spirits, humans, we Blood Moon them out of the game. We anger away their board. They can't attack through the ensnaring bridge. We abrade the Deputy of Detention when it goes for our bridge. Like, we have a lot of play against creature decks, and the only creature deck we even played tonight was Phoenix, and they ended up just killing us with a Pyromancer's Ascension, with the free cast just getting all their cards for free and still comboing out and killing us. Uh, this is a deck that you do really well in the meta. Like, this will 5-0 if you get the right matchups, and it will 0-5 when it doesn't, and I don't think we really got there tonight. Uh, Chandra's Regulator is an interesting card. We saw the weakness versus Narset. It got Spell Pierced versus Infect. It being an artifact is really easy to remove, though, and when we're actually running ensnaring bridges and chalices and things people want to remove, it's just an additional target for them. I actually think it gave our Infect player a target for the Force of Vigor. Uh, I don't know. I don't think there's a lot to be said. If you're going to play this, play the real version. Probably Rabble Masters are the better home at the moment. I'm not really a big fan of the just drop a creature and let it go, but it puts a fast enough clock on that you'll win the game and you don't have to ult the Planeswalkers. But this is more fun. We play fun decks, but thanks for sticking around. I am thirteene. I do this stuff because I like playing fun and stupid decks, and I really hope that you guys enjoy it too. If you'd like to send me a deck to look at or have a really fun combo that you want me to look through, feel free to send it to decks@squirreldealer.com. I'll always respond, figure out what to do. We might not preview it, but still try to have fun with it. Feel free to check us out on YouTube or the generic Twitch page to hit both me and Brad one. We do content every week. I'm Sunday, Monday, Wednesday. Brad one is Tuesday, Thursday. If you'd like to ask us a question, Dealer Squirrel will hit the entire staff, or hit me up on Reddit at thirteene. Again, happy to answer your questions. If you have a fun idea, I'd love to see it. I'm always looking for fun things to play. And thanks for hanging out tonight. And sorry this one didn't work, but what can you do? All Team Planeswalkers is hard, and people came stock tonight. Well, have a good one.